What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel, where today we're going to be taking a look at the 4-2-2. Now obviously at this time of the year it is a little bit difficult obviously to make content, so hopefully you guys are still enjoying the content and we are doing our best to get as much good content to you as we can. But given the time of the year, it is a little bit difficult obviously to make content. It's kind of a dead time of the year, so hopefully you guys are enjoying the content and sticking with us, and I do appreciate everybody that does watch the content right now. If you are enjoying it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you are enjoying the content, do drop a thumbs up as well. It does massively help us out. So going into the video today, we have got the 4-2-2. Now this is a formation that I haven't really used a lot recently. It was definitely a formation that was one of my favorites at the beginning of the year and kind of towards the middle of the year. I then kind of went away from it because there's a few other formations that I enjoyed playing with, and I kind of just never went back to this formation. But this was a good, fun formation that I did like to use, so I wanted to try it out again. Now I want to start off with the instructions today, but starting off, we've got the fullbacks and obviously the whole back four. We've got them on stay back while attacking. So for me personally, you know, it's kind of a stable when I go with back four formations. I always go with stay back while attacking. I always like my defenders to be there in a good organization, you know, never out of position. I like them to be, I like to have a good solid foundation. This formation could maybe be seen as being a little bit defensive, but I think it depends on the way you set up your team, and having these fullbacks on stay back while attacking I think is a must. I never like to have my fullbacks going forwards. I always think you should be able to create enough chances going forwards without needing your fullbacks to go forwards. We want them to stay back, make interceptions. They do drift forward as your team moves up the pitch. They do get forwards and they will create a few opportunities and get involved in the attack. But more often than not, you want them there breaking up counter attacks, especially down the wings with super quick players. Now you want them there. That's where they want to be. Now the two holding midfielders. Now these are arguably the most important players in the formation, because these two players here, they really dictate whether this formation is attacking or it's defensive. Now if you have these two CDMs, for example, on stay back while attacking, going to make this formation really defensive. It's going to make it exactly the same as a 4-2-3-1. You've got that solid back four, those two holders in front, and then you're just leaving four players up the top end of the pitch. So you could play it in that way. Why I don't like to play it like that is because I find that it's very, very easy for your opponent. This is the why I went away from this formation in the first place. When you have the two CDMs on stay back while attacking, it's very, very easy for your opponent to have possession and they're not pressured, because if you're, for example, if they're playing a flat midfield or if they have a holding midfielder themselves, you don't have any players on top of them to pressure them. You know, all your players are way away from that sort of area. So when you have them on stay back, it can be very easy for your opponent to play through. So I decided to have it on balanced attack, and I found this was a very, very good option. Now this is not something that a lot of people like to do with their CDMs. Obviously they want them to stay back while attacking, have a good solid foundation, drop back one depth, counter, that kind of scenario. I had them on balanced attack, and I found I was still very solid in defense, but I had a lot more thrust going forwards, and it wasn't so easy for my opponents to hold possession and take their time. You know, they had to kind of speed up their play a little bit more, which kind of played into my hands, because I like to play quite quick. So man mark, cover centre and balance for the two holding midfielders I found was a very effective combination, worked really well for this formation and kind of made this formation really interesting to me again. Now the two outside cams, the two wide cams, I've got get into the box, free roam and aggressive interceptions. Now the reason why I've got them on aggressive interceptions is because I want them to be aggressive, you know, well, God forbid, aggressive at the top end of the pitch. I want them to be attacking. I want them to try and really get in the face of my opposition. And that's why sometimes you feel like your opponent is on a press without being on a press, because they play on aggressive interceptions. They really kind of get in your face and make it difficult for you to play passes. You then have to rush. You might then play a stray pass. So aggressive interception is not something I've really dabbled with too much this year, but the last sort of couple of weeks I've been playing with it. Obviously has its negatives, because if your players do rush in and they don't get the ball, they're kind of out of the game. But it does have its positives as well, and I found it's very, very good. Free roam is something that I love. I love how it works, you know, and it works well with our tactics. I like the players to kind of drift and pick up lots of positions. Makes it pretty difficult for your opponents to kind of know where your player is going to go. It's unpredictable. Sometimes they'll run to the right, out on the wing. Sometimes they'll run inside. Just makes it a little bit unpredictable, and that's what FIFA's all about, especially at the top level. It's about unpredictability. And then the two strikers, we have got Rashford and Vardy. I've got them both on stay central. Now the reason why I've done this, as always, I like to have my strikers in the middle of the box. I don't really like them drifting wide. And the fact that we do have a little bit of width on their outside, on their left shoulders, you know, Vardy's got Fekir and Rashford's got Salah kind of on the right hand side. Yes, they're on free roam, so they're going to move inside sometime, but they do have a little bit of width already, so I don't need them to drift wide. So I just need them to stay central, be that sort of spearhead at attack, and use that pacing behind. That's why getting behind is there, and create and score lots of chances. So these were the tactics that I ended up settling on, something that's kind of not normal to me, and this is why this formation was it's one of those formations you either love it or you hate it. And you'll play with these tactics and instructions. For those of you that do want to test it out, you'll either love these tactics or you'll hate them. I personally, for the way I like to play, it worked really well to begin with. I hated it, these tactics, but after I kind of got to understand, you know, after a few games I played with them, I understood them, I understood what my players' roles and how they were going to work, and actually found it was super effective. And I don't know, is it something I'm going to take into weekend league? I might actually put this on as one of my instructions, one of my game plans, and just try it out for a few games, maybe at the beginning. But I found that pressure on heavy touch worked really well. You know, I like to play quite fast, attacking, flowing football, so playing on a press really worked with this formation. I went with 4 on the width in terms of defense, because I said that issue with sometimes you will find that your players are just not quite in, you know, they leave a little bit of space, and it can be a little bit easy for your players to attack. This could be seen as not a great way to play, because it means that, you know, all the space on the wings is going to be open. So you could, if you want, if you're worried about the wings, you could go obviously super wide. But I found that going on 4 it meant that it was very easy for my opponents to go down the wing, but anytime they tried to look for a cutback, it just wasn't there, because I had so many players in the middle of the pitch. Depth 5 is kind of standard for me. Fast build-up works really well for this formation. Again, lots of quick triangles. It gets around that issue of, obviously, when your players are a little bit wide apart, you know, it can make it a little bit easier for your opponent to play because there's lots of space. Fast build-up gets around that issue in terms of attack, and your players just bomb forward, especially with the players we've got. Width-wise, I actually went 3 on the width, and this is why I say it's a love-hate thing. If you're not someone that's used to playing this style, it might be a little bit difficult. You might take you a little bit of a while to adjust, which is what happened to me. I like to play a really wide width, so this kind of was a little bit obscure, wasn't something I was used to, but I found it was really good. Again, it got around the issue of there being massive holes in the team. You know, I found that everybody was quite close together. It knitted really well together, and especially in attack. Normally, it's kind of where I've gone away from this formation. Is in attack, it's not been quite good, but I actually found it was really solid in attack. It was maybe a tad, actually, surprisingly, a little bit more open in defense, but I don't necessarily mind that, because I fancy my chances to score more goals than my opponent, so this worked really well. And then players in the box, corners, and free kicks is all standard. So they were the custom tactics and instructions for the 4-2-2. Something a little bit different, but something that definitely I found that actually was quite effective. It definitely can be played against. You know, it's not the best set of custom tactics and instructions I think you will find out there, but it's something that's quite obscure, and I think that obscurity might actually make it really successful, because it's not the normal sort of custom tactics and instructions that people play against, so they might not quite know how to combat against this. But the best way to do is to try how and see how it works for you. It certainly worked for me. I mean, I play in Division 1, obviously against some really good players, and I found that it was effective against, you know, 75-80% of those players. So if you can take that into weekend league, try something a little bit obscure, see if it helps you out. But it worked very well for me. But if you want to see any other videos, like I said, very difficult obviously at this time of the year to make content. You know, it's kind of what, mid-May. You know, there's not really a lot of content that you guys particularly want to watch, the community, and there's not really a lot of content that, as a content creator, you don't necessarily know the best things to make. So I'm just trying to make as good a content as I can for you guys, and I do appreciate all of you guys that are watching the content every time we do upload. It's massively you know, it's just great. I love it. So really my mind is shifting more towards FIFA 21 at this stage of the year, but I'm going to still bring you good FIFA 20 content, and once team of the season has passed, we're going to do a lot of sort of FIFA 21 videos, so hopefully you guys will stick around and will love those sorts of content. So do let me know if you want to see that. If you do enjoy the content, make sure you just drop a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.